Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40! I'm not a kid!
Alright, so everyone did this as a kid, right? You're in a store and you see those vending machines. Ooh, you want that drink or that candy bar. It's a highlight in a young kid's day. There's staples in communities everywhere. Lifelong family, friends, and friends of the podcast are here for you. Gymnasiums, rec centers, playgrounds, wherever. KL&P Vending Inc. Family owned, family run. Come to us when you need your vending done. That's where the Gamertime podcast is going. Call them. 717-371-3350. That's KL&P Vending Inc. Hello, people. Welcome. This is Gamertime Podcast. This is episode number 6. All right, we're moving along pretty quickly here. I'm Matt. I'm not joined by our guest Tyler this week, but hopefully we can do that again sometime soon. This time I am joined by the man, the one and only Big Al Moshes. How you doing, Big Al?
I'm great. Great to be back, Matthew.
How was last week? You had an unfortunate was it a death in the family?
Yeah, my cousin was battling cancer, and it just overpowered her at 35. So
35.
It's
Wow.
gonna be tough. We're just sticking by the family and helping each other through it.
Yeah, that's good. I'm sorry to hear about that, man. It's always tough. It's a young age. That's horrible. But we're thinking about you, and we're here for you whenever you need it. And of course, all the Gamertime fans, hopefully out there, are also wishing well for you and your family. So let's get to it, man.
Appreciate it.
So I'm hearing that you have 2 special topics that you wanted to bring up.
Sure. One I heard the other day is a D3 college football. They're one of the teams from Minnesota, St. Thomas, is reportedly being kicked out of the conference for being too good.
Too good.
Too good.
So.
Now,
Is this like one of those high school stories where I know you said it's college, but like one of these high school teams that like doesn't lose for like 6 years in a row? Is it that type of thing where they haven't lost in a long time?
It's very possible because and the funny thing is last year they didn't even win the championship, but the years before that they averaged beating teams by like 8 or 9 touchdowns.
Holy!
I mean. What else can people do? It's like you might as well forfeit. It was like, that's just like if you kick them out of the conference, what are they supposed to go to another conference just to kick their butt?
Right.
Or like that's just like the Patriots going to the AFC North and just dominating like they always do in the East. It's like what's going on?
Well,
I mean, what do you feel about a team getting kicked out for being that good?
Well, I kind of wonder because it's like, were they just kicked out of the conference, or are they kicked out of is their football program gone? Like, is it, you know what I mean? How bad is this? Is the kicking out? But like, if it's funny because it's like the total opposite happened just recently. So in our area, the local area, locals will know about this, but the Ephrata School District hadn't won a game in like, I think it was like 5 or 6 years, and they were 0 for, what is that, like 55 or 62 or 65 or whatever it is, but they haven't won a game in all those years, and they even had like a scoreless streak going on. But anyways, they were at the point where the league officials or whatever, changed their section. I think they were like section 2 or something like that, and they moved them down to section 3. And in our area, that works out by the size of the school, the population of the school. So Hempfield, our alma mater, Hempfield, is a hugely populated high school. There's a crapload of, the area is a giant area. So it's down to section 1. So it's the biggest schools in the area. So like, so in Ephrata's case, they are a big school, but they just couldn't win. They can't for so long. So they actually downgraded them in the section to like a less, obviously
Wow.
a less talented section, and I actually think they won a couple of games, so it worked. But
Well, that's good.
so I kind of wonder if it's one of those cases, if they're just kind of relocating them for different competition, or how it worked. But if you're saying like they were just flat out kicked out, like that's weird.
Right. I mean, I would hate to see like a whole football program just go down like that just because no one can beat them. I mean,
Right.
it's just like you need another team in the league that can compete with them. So I don't. If they go to a different conference, then I wish the other teams luck. But just trying to take a whole program out is pretty difficult when you're talking about colleges. Your athletic programs are very, very important to some college students.
Right, exactly. So what's the other topic you got?
And sticking to the football scheme, it's been talked about that Mr. Goodell of the NFL wanted to allow players to have this as a tool for them to use for medical marijuana, and that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, you suspend players for doing the weed, and now you want to make it okay? Like, first of all, how do you know that, all these players, like, how do you know who's going to use it for medical purposes? Like, you can't just, you're just going to drug test them every day and wait, you don't have it? No, okay, wait, yep, okay, you're good. But yeah, go ahead and use it. Let's just keep building to the NFL league like this and saying that it's okay to do drugs, but you want to suspend players for doing them. I mean, what the heck is your take on this?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a hypocritical thing. Like like you just said, it's like you suspend them for one reason, and then you're doing things for different. It's so. I don't know. It might depend on where you stand on the whole marijuana thing or whatever it is. But like, if you agree with it, if you don't agree with it, if you think it should be allowed, not just like in general population, but like whether athletes should be able to do it, or whether all this different types of stuff. So it's like, I guess it all depends on the person. Me personally, I don't necessarily, how do I put this? I don't really care. Like, it doesn't bother me if there's a guy who says if he does this and that on the off season, or even if he does it during the season and it's like it actually helps him like recuperate from injuries quicker, because that's has been a reason why some of the guys do it. Like, it actually helps injuries, things like that. So it's like, there's pluses and negatives about the situation, but I don't know, man. It's hard to. I can imagine it's difficult as the person who needs to make the rules. So I guess it all depends on their opinion of the subject. You know what I mean? Of actual marijuana. So yeah.
Right, and I when I first saw it, it was just like, wait a minute, like how we were talking about in the beginning, like okay, so it's okay to do it for medical purposes, but you're going to suspend players on a regular basis for using it. So that I don't understand, but I guess the players that do it and they don't abuse it, they do it medically.
Right.
I guess it would be all right, but we'll just see how that plays out.
Yeah, definitely. So have you been watching any baseball lately?
Yeah, a little bit. I watching the Phillies. They're every now and then they'll get some good wins, but I think it was last week they had two games where once again they come in and they have a lead late in games, and yet once again they blow them because they don't have a significant closer to shut down those games. So the Phillies' record should actually be better than what they should, but I think going into the trade, even the trade deadline or the All-Star break, they definitely need a closer.
Yeah. It looks like, looking now, it seems that yesterday they beat the Brewers 6-4, but it has been lately kind of just up and down all over the place. I mean, Thursday you had oh, okay, they're just starting the series against the Brewers, but they beat the Cubs 9-7. Just Wednesday you had where is it at here? They lost 8-4, so it's like, you know, you got 2 out of 3 there over the last 3 days, but it's just been a little bit rocky, even for star player Bryce Harper. So it's like, you know, he had the big the down streak for, man, what was that? That was like almost a month or so, right?
Yeah.
And then he finally
people were getting on him a lot because
yeah.
of
Well,
the
that's
amount he was paid, and
right, and that's Philadelphia, but you know, the Grand Slam kind of kicked him out for a little bit. Like, he hit a Grand Slam, and that was great and all, and I think he might have hit another one since then, or not a Grand Slam, but a home run since then. But it's just been, you kind of want more as far as maybe the average. Like, I feel the average is in the, I think, sub 200s or something like that. So it's from Harper we're talking about, but it's, you know, Rhys Hoskins still seems to be hitting really well. He's turning into one of my favorites, but
that's good.
Yeah. But
speaking of, you know, hitting long balls and stuff, just yesterday, all the teams combined yesterday put up an amazing stat of hitting 59 combined home runs yesterday, and that hasn't been done since July 2002, I believe, when they hit 62. So they're 3 away from that stat, but man, that's a lot of power.
yeah, I mean, it's always pretty funny if you ever go on like YouTube or something, you can see like, or even like at the end of a TV show, like if you ever watch Baseball Tonight, they'll have like little compilation videos, and they have like all the home runs from around the league, and you know, they'll just be home run after home run after home run after home. It's actually it's fun to watch sometimes. It's like if you watch Red Zone, okay? If anybody has watched Red Zone around 7 o'clock on a Sunday, at the end of the show, they show every touchdown from the 1 o'clock and the 4 o'clock games, and it's like a recap.
Nice.
But they show every touchdown highlight, and it's actually really cool to see. But yeah, this is one of those scenarios where it's like crap load of home runs in one day. You could just spend probably 5 to 10 minutes just watching home run highlights. Yeah. And so specifically, are you talking about the Minnesota Twins?
Well, yeah, just the other day, I can't remember if it was Thursday or Friday, but they had 8 home runs against the Angels, and I think at least 5 of them came within the 3rd inning.
Wow. 5 home runs in the 3rd inning.
It's just the pitching. I don't know what happened with the Angels pitching there, but it's kind of crazy how they put up all those stats pretty early, and they kept going throughout the game. They ended up with 8 home runs, and
yeah, the final was 16-7. That's crazy.
Unbelievable how teams put up double digits. But speaking of double digits, your Yankees have double-digit amount of injuries on your team, but yet you're still in first place. How do you explain that? I mean, the depth obviously is there, but just really, like, 14 Yankee players are down, and yet you can still compete? Like, what's going on?
I don't know. I gotta be honest, I don't know. It's actually really, I mean, it's, as a Yankee fan, it's nice to see, but at the same time, we did just finish a series against the Baltimore Orioles, so it's kind of like, you know, the crappiest team in the league, so it's a little bit of, you know, a beatdown on a little brother or whatever, but yeah, you're right. They've been on, like, what did I hear them say? It's like, I want to say maybe like 10 out of their last 15 or something like that. It's been, you know, don't hold me to that stat. It's probably not right, but it's been around that. You know, they've been definitely a good winning percentage over the last month or so. But you're right. The injuries are amazing. It's like, you know, I think we've got a couple of the guys back since the record high. I think we had like a full roster on the injury list, and but a couple of them came back. But it's still, even I think I just heard Stanton got reevaluated and he's going to be out even longer. So that's never good for us. But hey, if we keep winning like this, I guess it doesn't matter. But
Right.
6-5 yesterday or Thursday against the Orioles. Wednesday 7-5. Tuesday 11-4. So and Monday 10-7, all against the Orioles. So 4-game sweep right there.
Wow, and like I said earlier, just you might have all these players out, but that shows a lot about your team there, because the depth that you have, it's just that, like in the NFL or any type of sport, like next man up mentality, they're stepping in at the right time, and until they get all players healthy, they continue to win. So even though you have players out, I think you're in good shape right now.
Yeah. So I want to bring up we're pretty much halfway through here, but I want to bring up like a little thing that at the end of last episode, if anybody noticed it, catched it, it was a decently long episode, but if anybody caught on to it, me and Tyler came up with an idea to do an email bag, so to speak, kind of like anybody has any specific topics or questions that they want to ask us or something like that, definitely email us. It's a gamertimeshows@gmail.com. I feel like that would be an incredible segment to do. Even if it's just a little bit of funny quirks or whatever it is, I think it'd be a great idea to kind of get input from outside people, whatever questions they want. So it'd be a lot of fun, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I would love to join you with that, and just add a little sauce to the show. I like how you think there, and great move by the two of you in my absence. And it's like you said, just shoot us emails, call us, text us, whatever you want. Sell better house, we don't care. Just let us know what you think, people.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but all right. So, what about where are we at with the hockey?
Well, we do have, starting Monday night, we will have Game 1 from Boston of the Stanley Cup Finals. The St. Louis Blues come out of the West and beat the Sharks to go face the Boston Bruins in the Stanley Cup Finals starting Monday night in Boston. But interesting stat about that, I just saw that the last time the St. Louis Blues were in the Stanley Cup was 1970, and they lost to the Boston Bruins.
Holy cow.
So
this is a rematch of 40 years ago, 50 years ago.
Yeah, and I see my heart is telling me root for St. Louis because, all right, Boston had their share, and now give it, let St. Louis win one. But my head is different than my heart, and I think Boston will win that series in 6 or 7 games. I mean, they're both very talented teams, and St. Louis, they're doing this on a rookie goaltender. So you have Boston, who has a veteran goaltender, versus the Blues, who have a rookie goaltender. So should be a great matchup, but like I said, I think Boston comes away, but I hope St. Louis finds a way to upset them.
Yeah, I'm done with Boston. Just the whole city in general. They've won enough, man. We talked about this last week. It's like from the Patriots Super Bowl to the Red Sox World Series to the Celtics, who were, they didn't win the title, but they're a good team, and they had a chance of definitely making it out of the East, but they didn't, so that's good. And now look at the Bruins; they're got home ice for the Stanley Cup. I'm definitely rooting for the Blues on this one. But did you say they haven't won a title since then?
Just even been being in the Stanley Cup Finals. They haven't even been in the Stanley Cup Finals since 1970, and that's when they lost to the Bruins. So it's like I can't recall when their last actual title was, but it's kind of ironic that 50, 40, 50-some plus years later they're playing again. And like I said, I think either team can win on the road, so I don't think St. Louis has a big advantage. Right. But like I said, I think I'll take Boston, but go Blues.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so how about some basketball? You watching the Bucks and the Raptors at all?
Holy crap! I mean, this is getting more intense than we thought. I mean, we're all sitting around there. We're talking about, oh man, the Bucks got this. Who's going to stop the Freak?
Right.
Well, guess what? They're one loss away from elimination, and I originally picked the Bucks to face the Warriors in the championship, and I think either team who faces the Warriors is probably going to lose, but that's not here nor there. We'll talk about that later.
Right.
But I think even if Toronto would lose, I think they have a really good chance of winning Game 7. But I honestly think they close it out this weekend, and that'll be the end of Milwaukee.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny how it just shifted, because after Game 2, when Milwaukee took a 2-0 lead, it was kind of like, wow, Milwaukee's probably going to take these guys. Like, Raptors didn't seem to be in it at all. And then that huge, what was it, double or triple overtime game in Game 3 brought them in, and Game 4 they took care of business as well. So it's like, back even 2-2 going back to Milwaukee, it was kind of like it's definitely a tale of like the home court advantage, like who's actually here to play, you know what I mean? But in Milwaukee it came down to the wire again, and it seemed to be like Kawhi Leonard just kind of took over a little bit.
Right. He's
averaging over 35 points a game through the whole playoffs, so it's like he's really taking it to him, and I hear that the coach of Toronto, Nick Nurse, he really came up with a good game plan where he decided to try and control Giannis was to put Kawhi Leonard on him when the series shifted to Toronto for Game 3, and it really made a difference. I mean, Giannis had trouble staying out of foul trouble. He had trouble scoring in Game 3. I think he only had like 17 points. And Kawhi Leonard is really showing who the better player is, I think, in my opinion. Yeah. So I kind of agree with you. I think that they're probably going to win, I believe, tonight. I think they play tonight, and and win the Eastern and take on the Warriors in the NBA Finals, because as of, I believe, last week, it was still an open series, but since then we've had the Golden State Warriors complete the sweep of the Portland Trailblazers, and they just look unstoppable. It's almost getting annoying. Like I really thought this year was going to be different. Like I kind of thought they were going to struggle more, and it just seems like they haven't. They've kind of been cruising. I don't know. What do you think?
To add quickly to your point about the East, Milwaukee being on the road here, and Antetokounmpo, which we all know is the Freak,
right.
He's not 100% healthy, but yet he still is guaranteeing a victory tonight. So we'll see how that plays. We'll see how those guarantees work out especially not if he's not 100% healthy. But going back to your point of the West, do you think it's a fluke that I know any team that faces Golden State in the playoffs is doomed for failure, but this was the two best teams apparently in the West, and without Kevin Durant, the Warriors just swept Portland. I mean, right. I was expecting a good, decent Western Conference Finals, but it just shows how good Warriors actually are.
Well, yeah, they're 6-0 without Durant. The 2 games against Houston and a 4-game sweep against Portland. It's just like they haven't missed a beat since then. And I think I've touched on this on the podcast before, but like it almost, with Durant going down, the offense has just kind of opened up. It's more free flowing. The ball is moving more, and Steph Curry obviously has taken over at times, but yeah, it looks like at this point it just looks like Golden State's the better team, regardless of who comes out of the East. So I do think we're looking at another Warriors title. That'll be 3 in a row and 5 appearances in a row. So it's pretty amazing what they've been able to do. But just wait. This summer, I think we're going to see a lot of movement. It's going to be probably the biggest summer in NBA history. And
right.
So I would love to see what it's going to be like next season, and see how. Steph isn't going anywhere in my opinion. Clay's not going anywhere in my opinion. Draymond's not going anywhere. But I do think Kevin Durant's going to leave. Where does he go? That's up in the air. But that'll be a topic for another podcast. But yeah.
Right, and with the draft coming up, we all love drafts, and
definitely
we love watching what player goes where and who's going to make each team better. And you got Zion being number 1 most likely, and we got some very great talent this year in the NBA draft coming up. I believe June 20th. June 20th on ESPN, 8 o'clock. Stay tuned for that. That's some fun right before the free agency. And speaking of free agencies and all this and that movement, you're a Lakers fan, Matthew, I believe. What is up with LeBron James? I mean, I just don't get it. He thinks that he's trying to recruit Jimmy Butler and Kawhi Leonard to the Lakers. Excuse me, that's not going to happen.
Well,
because Jimmy is going to stay in Philly, and God only knows what happens with Kawhi, but you ain't getting both of them. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm not even sure we can afford both of them together, because they're both going to want pretty hefty contracts, and I'm not really sure how we're going to do that. But here's the thing. So, huge news coming last week with Magic Johnson tearing up the front office, and he just tore us apart, gave us a new one, and we're kind of the laughing stock of the league right now. But this is actually kind of, as a Lakers fan, it's obviously good news on the front of just what we can do this summer, or what's possible this summer, and that's LeBron James starting to recruit. But the Kawhi Leonard is definitely one that I obviously want. I think he's an incredible player, and him in a Laker uniform would be just beautiful. But Jimmy Butler, yeah, he's the local town favorite right now in Sixerland. My brother-in-law and I were just talking about it last night, about how he's a Philly fan in general, but he says Lakers can't have Jimmy Butler. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's gonna be a one hell of a summer, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, we're as basketball fans, we look forward to that, and we're just want our teams to develop, and we'll see how the Lakers adjust with the new players, new coaches, new everything right now in Philly. Well, I'm still trusting the process, but we'll see how much longer it takes.
Yeah. Well, if anybody's interested in hearing more about all of what we discussed and any more about that, stay tuned, because we are definitely going to hit on this huge upcoming summer in the NBA. We're going to hit on training camp coming up at the end of the summer. For NFL. We're going to hit on the Stanley Cup champion. We're going to hit on the NBA Finals champion. We're going to everything from your local Phillies run at a title this year, or run at a title within the next, 13 years for Bryce Harper? I don't know. So just stay tuned. I appreciate everybody checking out this episode number 6 for Gamertime. Big Al, brother, I appreciate you, man.
Hey, real quick, Matthew, we haven't talked about this in a little bit, but are you still playing video games? Because I am, and I got a lot of downtime. But hey, I try to keep myself busy, but I'm still I'm still going strong with some football. Although I'm gonna get rid of it soon to make room for Madden 20 when it comes out in August. But I'm still going strong with some basketball and hockey even, and obviously the show. It's great new addition. But you play anything new?
Yeah, I'm definitely. I try and get into a couple of things. Like right now, I've got my franchise in NBA 2K19. It's going well. I like I've said before, I struggle with the grind, so to speak, of a really long MLB season or NBA season or NFL. Well, NFL's not that bad, but you have the option in these games to play every single game, right? And I want to do the most authentic or most, just how do I get the most out of one season and still enjoy it and get through it in a short amount of time, so to speak. And that's difficult to do. But what I've been doing is playing a couple of games in the beginning of the month and a couple of games at the end of the month, and just keep doing that throughout the season. Right now, and it's going pretty quick. I've just finished up the All-Star break, and I didn't have any All-Stars other than LeBron James on the Lakers, but no, not even the rookie game. Like Lonzo didn't make it as a sophomore, Kuzma didn't make it as a sophomore, none of that stuff. So it's like, yeah, it was a little surprising, but I ended up controlling Ben Simmons for the rookie sophomore game. And I had, 35 and 17, I think it was, and I ended up getting blown out. And the same thing with the All-Star game. I controlled LeBron James and had a good game, but I got blown out in the All-Star game. So it was like, I don't know, it was entertaining, but yeah.
Right, and I don't know about you, but I do play franchise as well. I relocated the Sixers to Seattle and all that, bringing back Seattle, but I also play my player, and I've been struggling with that a little bit because it's like you were talking about grinding about the whole year and stuff. Like, and my first year I got drafted by the Portland Trail Blazers, and so I'm with McCollum and Lillard, so I'm not getting much playing time, so it's a little difficult for me to just to play that my career, because I'm just I want to play every game just to get more points and all that, but it just seems like it takes forever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it definitely does. It's definitely a grind. But I'm excited for Madden 20 coming out. The end of it's not in July yet, is it? Is it like it's still like early August or something like that?
I believe it's the beginning of August. And speaking of games coming out, and it's maybe something that you've seen or not going to be out for a little while, but it's in the works that college basketball and college football may be back, and that was a big thing for us with the PlayStation 3 having college football. So that can come back to the fore. I definitely do something like that, and I feel like it's, from what I've seen, they're both kind of like the Madden games. They're, as far as gameplay and all that. So it'll be interesting to see if they can come back and make that work.
Yeah, I'm definitely pulling for that. Got the whole lawsuit thing and stuff like that. But that would be amazing if they could make a new NCAA football. That'd be glorious. But all right, man, I appreciate you coming on again and over the phone like this. Sometimes we just schedules get a little crazy, so we're still trying to keep this podcast going, but sometimes it gets tough, and I appreciate you coming on over the phone like this.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back, Matt. It's very unfortunate what happened last week, but I'm glad I had a friend in Tyler White to step in and take on my role there. But both of you did a great job, and look forward to more coming up with more guests.
All right, man. Sounds good. We'll see you next time for the next episode. I appreciate everybody tuning in. This is Gamertime Shows, the Gamertime Podcast, episode 6. And like, subscribe, everything you see, YouTube. There's always the Twitter. You can comment. You can do whatever. Gamertime shows on Twitter. So if anybody's interested in the email bag, I'd love to do that too. So let us know. Ask your questions, and we'll see you next time. Big Al, say goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Happy Memorial Day weekend, everybody. Be safe. Be real.
All right.